Hey guys, welcome back. It's Lee, Ross Rod Shop. Today we're working on a friend of mine's girlfriend's car. He called me. Actually, he bought an alternator. He asked me if I'd come over there. I drove 35 minutes. I drove 35 minutes over there to change the alternator. He said he'd done bought the alternator, car needed an alternator, wanted me to change the alternator. So I drove over there, changed his alternator. He never said anything about diagnosing the car, looking at the car. He just wanted me to change the alternator. So I drove over there and changed the alternator. As it turns out, the starter was the problem. So now he's had the car brought over here to the shop so I can change the starter on it, because I didn't want to drive back over there, 90-degree heat, like I did the other day, and change the alternator. It is a 2011 Dodge Caliber. It has a 2.0 four-cylinder engine. And in their infinite wisdom, those fine folks over at Dodge placed the starter directly under the intake here. Let's tackle this puppy. Okay, we're going to start by removing the air inlet hose. Again, it has to come off. The red tab right here on this, you just pull back on the tab and then press in right here on the back and pull back on that. This is a flathead or 8mm, whatever you want to use to loosen the air inlet hose. And then we need a stubby flat to get this hose on the bottom with a screwdriver. You got to use a stubby to get it. Okay, as it turns out, it's going to be a lot easier to get this lower air intake hose with a socket. Okay, and because the jerks that design these cars never have to work on them, so they do crap like this, before you can get this out, there's a wiring harness clipped right here on the very bottom of this thing. You have to get it loose before you can get it out. And always remember, when you're working on electrical, like the starter or the alternator, disconnect the battery. If you don't disconnect the battery, you could wind up with a little bit of a problem. Okay, on this starter here, there is a 15mm bolt right here. It has the ground cable on it. You take that one out, and then there is another 15mm bolt right down here. Take that out. That feeds through to the starter as well. Take those two bolts out, and I'm gonna see if I can't work that starter out this way, back towards me, once I get it loose. Okay, here's what we had to do. Again, I took that 15mm out there, the 15mm out down there, and then I had to take the intake loose. You just take the injectors loose. It's getting dark out here, so it's kind of hard to see. But you unplug all the injectors so you can get the wire loose. You have to unplug a couple of sensors, the one down here and then the one right here, to get the wiring harness loose so you can slide the intake back far enough. And then I just backed the starter out of that hole right there. Right here's the old starter. It was just, the solenoid's gone out and it was just clicking when she turned the key. Here's our new unit, or remanufactured unit. Yep. So you're going to need an extension. The bolts for the intake are down in these holes here. There's one there, one there, and one there. And then there's 2 nuts on either side, 14 millimeter. Take those out. There's only 5 that hold the intake on. You back the intake up far enough to where you can slide that alternator out. Again, I'm getting ready to call it a night because it's dark outside and difficult to see. And hot, sweaty, you know, all that good stuff. Okay, don't forget your plug here. This little plug right here goes right here. Take it around there, stick it on there. Then we can work our starter. That down in there. And then get it back down in the hole. Slide it back here. Then we get our 15 millimeter bolt started and get the starter locked back down, and then I'll finish this up tomorrow. Okay, as you can see, I just took this little 10 millimeter bolt out of this bracket here and then zip tied this hose up out of my way so I could put this center bolt back in there. It's a little tricky to get that thing in there. I mean, it slides through 2 holes. This hole here, and then there's another hole right there it has to slide up into, and then you can tighten it down. So it is a little bit tricky, but just stick with it and you'll figure it out. I actually got lucky. I stuck the bolt on the end of a magnet and just stuck it down in there, got it in the hole back there. And then I was able, once I got this hose out of the way, I was able to get a socket on it and get it tight. And as you've seen, what I did was took everything loose, pulled the intake back a little bit, just enough to where I could get the starter out. Again, I know the lighting sucks out here. I got the sun to my back, but right there where that ground wire is the top bolt for the alternator, and then right there is the second for the starter. I'm sorry. Right there where that ground wire is the top bolt for the starter. And then right there is the second bolt for the starter. Those 2 bolts, you get those out, then the starter will slide forward. Once you take the intake loose and slide it back, then you can work that starter up and out of that hole there, and then put the new one in. Okay guys, now's the moment of truth. We've got everything back together. Just put it back together the way you took it apart. Take your time, make sure everything gets snapped back. All your plugs get plugged back in, your injectors, your sensor here on your air intake hose. Get your battery hooked back up. Then we can get the keys. And before, it would just click. When you turn the key, it wouldn't turn over or wouldn't do anything. It would just click. And there you have it. Start it right up. It's running good. Okay everybody, that finishes another one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Just hit the button, don't cost you anything. Thanks for helping me out. It helps out a lot when you do hit that subscribe button. Click the link below, check out the website. I got some t-shirts and hats on there. Help out the channel a little bit. I'm gonna keep doing this, having lots of fun. Again, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.